Right. So this is a specially called meeting of the Natrona County Parks Advisory Board for the purpose of deciding whether we should formally send the revisions for the parks rules and regulations to the Board of County Commission to begin the 45-day public comment period and start that process. And if we could begin the meeting with a roll call of all the participants.
I can pretty much tell you by looking at who we have. We've got Dave North, Jim Miller, Eric Nelson, Stuart Hill, Commissioner Kaufman, and myself as the Parks, Recreation, and Leisure Services Director.
Okay, so we do have a four-person quorum present. Tina Cruz is not available. I did receive an email from her earlier today with comments on the rules and regulations, so we'll throw those in there too as we go. So first thing I would like to do is just go around the group and see if anybody found anything in the revisions that we need to discuss.
This is Dave. The one thing I did find is that in the revision we have, when we're talking about the range out on County Road 306, in one place we do call it the rifle range out on 306, and another place we call it Platte River Rod and Gun Club. Doesn't matter to me which way we go, but we ought to be consistent in our verbiage.
And I've got that email.
That would be.
I've got the email, so I'll make sure that we note it and make the change to be consistent in the wording.
Dave, did you have anything else?
Oh, there's some grammatical stuff, but I've got to look through and find it. It wasn't major. Most of the stuff was already addressed with your email the other day.
Yeah, and I think I believe that towards the end of the process, once the public comment period is passed, that the document will go through and be corrected for grammatical issues prior to the Board of County Commission voting to put it into place. So it's probably going to get looked at a couple more times for, T's crossed and I's dotted, that kind of stuff.
Mr. Chairman, this is Eric Nelson. You're correct. I think should the board vote to move this forward in a formal rulemaking process, we'll go ahead and clean up the redlined copy. And I think anything is simply a Scrivener's error or a grammatical change, but it's non-substantive, we can do that in the interim, and that doesn't affect anything.
Okay, so Dave, I'll just stay with you. Do you have any other comments?
No, we're fine on the rest of that stuff. I was fine with. Like I said, I looked at your comments the other day, and that pretty much addressed most of the stuff that we needed to fix. So, other than the minor grammatical stuff. So,
okay. Now just kind of move down the line. Stuart, did you have anything to comments, questions, concerns?
I was looking for this again. I saw it once, and I've read this thing a couple times. Where did we put the unmanned aircraft stuff? I mean, I see a definition.
It's at the very.
It's under section 6.
Okay. No.
It's I'm sorry, section 5.
Yeah.
Section 5.
The very bottom of section 5.
So one thing that I would,
Okay, that wording there.
yeah, it is a bit confusing because basically Section 5H says that recreational drone use is allowed in designated areas only. There's a difference between the Section 337 and the Part 107 drone regulations. They're two different certifications. So I think we should eliminate the word recreational drone use and possibly put certified drone use is allowed in designated areas only. Otherwise, we're excluding anybody who has a Part 107 drone pilot certificate.
Okay.
So it strike the word recreational and just make it certified. Or, even then, we might have to say, just strike the word recreational and just say drone use because, as I think about this, a drone that weighs less than 0.55 pounds does not require a license or registration. So we should just have Part H, Section 5H, simply say drone use is allowed in designated areas only.
And any others, go with the other wording on the ones that need to have permits. That way, it gives leeway for special events and things like that who need to do the permitted uses.
Yeah, George will stay the same. H, as in Henry, just eliminate the word recreational and just simply say drone use is allowed in designated areas only or areas designated by the board. Maybe you could say that.
Right.
We don't go on and ever say what areas they're designated in. So how does the sheriff's office, are they going to have to go through the whole rules and see if we designate it anywhere?
It'll be
Exactly.
one of those things when we decide which areas we're going to designate. It gives us the flexibility as when we create parks over between now and the next time we actually have to revise rules. It gives the flexibility of us as the park system designated an area for that type of drone usage.
So the designation won't have to be in the parks rule.
No. It'll be a clear.
No, it would be signage or a map or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, that can just be an addendum that
Yep.
you can hand out too.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is Eric. So this is actually a comment I started to write to Tim today, and I didn't get it to him, but I think that's correct. I think that if we designated areas within the rules, in order to change it, we'd have to go through a formal rulemaking process. It's much easier, I think, to leave it open-ended. And as long as we're adequately signing it and then, there's some record of what's been designated, I think that's easier from an administrative standpoint and allows us greater flexibility if we designate an area and that just doesn't work out to be able to change it without kind of going through this whole process.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking about special events. Maybe we have a drone racing competition in Bear Trap Meadow or something like that. So I would like to see Section H, as in Henry, changed to read, drone use is allowed in designated areas that have been designated by the board only. Does that make sense?
Yeah. We can work out the proper wording to basically say designated areas or areas permitted by the park system.
Yes. So I think that gives us the flexibility to either hold events or designate specific areas for drone use.
Correct.
So that was my only comment on Section 5. Stuart, did you have anything else?
Not at this moment.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Jim, did you have anything?
I did not.
Okay, and there were just a few little grammatical things that I saw, like periods and punctuation. Other than that Section 5 issue, I didn't have any other issues with it. Eric Nelson, did you have any issues with anything at this time?
Mr. Chairman, no, I read through it. I didn't have any comments from a legal perspective. The only thing that I noted was exactly what you guys just touched on, and that was the designated areas. So I think that's, in my opinion, the way to go. So otherwise, at this point, I have no comments.
Okay, and then I think you said Commissioner Kaufman was on the line also?
I am here, Mr. Chairman, and I don't have anything to add. Thank you.
Okay. Tim, did you have anything that you had heartburn with?
No, I keep heartburn anyway, but it comes with age. I think the only thing is just to make sure that the public knows, and we can convey this to them, that just because even if we make a decision tonight, that there's still 45 days, and that we, working as an advisory board, can still give input to the Board of Commissioners on things that we hear, because we are a good ear for the public.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, do we have, you said that we have public comment?
Yes, we do have public comment. So I'll have to actually make the phone call from right here. That phone number that I gave, she's got that.
Tim, if I could interrupt, so Mr. Chairman, I think that so the purpose would be to have a motion to recommend to the county commissioners to engage in the formal rulemaking process. So I think it would be appropriate to have a motion and a second to that effect and a vote in the minutes if that's the intent of the board.
And then the public comment would come after.
Prior to any public comment?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, I wasn't anticipating that this was going to be a public hearing. I mean, I think you can have public comment, general public comment at the end. But if you want to conduct it as a hearing, I mean, that was really not what I had intended, but you certainly can.
And I believe the way the agenda was set up is the public comment would come after the motion and the potential vote.
If that's the case, I'll make the motion that we move forward and present this to the county commissioners for their consideration.
Just a minute, Dave.
Okay.
Dave, could I interrupt? Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
did we have any comments from Tina that she'd sent forth to you that we need to address?
Yes, so the comments that I had were in an email, and it was punctuation and grammar.
Okay.
And there were 3 or 4 things that she had emailed to myself and Tim, Director Petrie, and so I think that her concerns are covered.
Great, thanks.
Okay, so we have a
Mr. Chairman.
motion then.
This is Stuart. I will second.
So we have a motion to forward the rules and regulations with the amendments that we just added to the Board of County Commission to begin the process to formalize the rules and regulations. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any discussion on the motion? Okay, I don't have any.
Before, Mr. Chairman, is that the public is going to get a chance at this. The 45 days don't start until the commissioners get to it, so there'll be plenty of time for input.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got a motion made and seconded. We have no discussion. So we'll call for a vote. All in favor of proceeding, please signify by saying aye.
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 And any opposed, say, use nay as a sign, please. So the motion passes, the motion is carried. So we will forward those, and Tim, I assume that you'll take care of that with the revisions that we did talk about?
Yes, I'll take care of that.
Yep.
And then, Eric, I had a quick question for you. What is the procedure now to formally hand that over to the Board of County Commission?
So, Mr. Chairman, I think that we can convey that to them. I will, if Tim will work on cleaning up the copy of the rules, I will prepare the formal notice, and we'll get that probably. Well, I'll talk with Michelle about how we get that published. So we'll get the notice published. That time will be moving forward. So the earliest that the commissioners could have a formal hearing on it would be, I think, the first meeting in June, if I was doing my quick calculations correct. I think the other question that, I'll probably need to circle next Tuesday with the BOCC is whether they want to have another kind of town hall meeting. Given kind of the current state of things, if things were to open up later in May, we may want to hold off so that we could maybe have it in person, but that's something I can broach with them. So as soon as we get the notice published, then that'll kind of get the clock ticking.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Okay, so do we have any board?
Let's do the public comment
Do we have
before
public comment or board comment
let's
first?
do the public comment first, please.
Okay,
Let me-
so can we get Mary on the line then?
Yeah, we're getting her on the phone right now. Thanks to Eileen, our fantastic IT department head.
This is Mary.
Hey, Mary, Tim Petrie with the Natrona County Parks Recreation.
Yes.
We have you on a speakerphone. We are at the end of our meeting. We are at the time for public comment. And what we'll do is when I give you a start time, I will be timing 3 minutes. And I will just simply, at the end of 3 minutes, I will say 3 minutes. Doesn't mean you have to quit right then. But at that point, if you could begin to wrap it up, and understand that if it is only public comment, and we will not answer the public comment, but we will simply thank you and then make sure that it is admitted to the minutes. Okay?
That'll be fine.
All right. So you can start at will.
I'm calling in regard to Section 20 Special Areas, A, Rotary Park, Section V, that says additional uses or times may be allowed by board-issued permit or trail use pass. And I understand the need for the board to be able to make exceptions to the rules to accommodate special events. However, I don't understand the purpose of the language or trail use pass. I don't understand why a simple trail use pass holder should have any authority or access to additional uses or times in the park. And I think this language should be taken out. And that was my only issue, and I wanted to thank the board and all of you for your hard work on these rules. I know that the virus situation has made communications even more difficult for you, and I appreciate what you've done to try to keep the public engaged, and I appreciate all of your efforts on this. So I just want to thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Mary, this is Roy, the chairman, and I just wanted to thank you for your comments, and we did hear that, and just wanted to remind you that there is basically we have done our part as an advisory board to recommend these revised rules and regulations to the Board of County Commission. Then the next step is the rules and regulations as revised will go to the Board of County Commissioners and begin a 45-day public comment period. So you will have plenty of time to in a variety of methods to get your comments to the Board of County Commission before the final rules and regulations are adopted. So we've heard you. We'll include that in the meeting notes and pass that along.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mary.
Goodbye.
Okay,
Do we have any other public comments?
that's all the public comments that I received on Civic Plus.
Okay, do we have any board comments?
All I can say is yay.
Well, I would just like to say thank you to everybody, and I know this has been an inconvenience and a trying time on top of another trying time, but thank you for persevering and getting this through. I think we've put together a pretty, a pretty healthy document that should survive the next 45 days, and I think there will be a couple of issues that pop up with the Board of County Commissioners, possibly dealing with cycling and a couple other things. But all in all, I'm very, very happy and proud of the work that we've done, and I just want to thank everybody for that. So thank you, guys. If we have nothing else, I guess we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I second that.
Jim.
Okay,
Dave
thank you,
and Jim.
Tim, for putting this together, and the meeting is adjourned.